Republicans in this race aren't able or seemingly willing to go for the jugular. You got to beat the guy. And how are you going to break through a crowded field if you don't confront the front runner head on? MSNBC contributor and former Republican strategist Matthew Dowell told my colleague Alicia Menendez that it's 2016 all over again.
Everybody was like, Donald Trump's going to fail, and I'll be there to pick up this stuff. And everybody did it. I mean, Jeb Bush tried to do it. Marco Rubio tried to do it. All of them tried to do it. And they didn't want to be the one until it was too late. And this part of the process is Donald Trump is 2016 Republican primary nominee on steroids.
Debbie McCarsell-Powell and Rick Wilson are back with us. So, Rick, I need to get your reaction, my friend, to what our mutual friend Matt Dowell said there. So far, Chris Christie has been the only candidate willing to call Trump out, as the other candidates are just kind of mumbling or pull a DeSantis and try to out-Trump Trump, right? They can't seem to get their act together on how to go at this guy. What do you think these folks need to do with 6 months left if they have any hope?
Well, first off, none of them have any hope until they're willing to confront the fact that they have to call out, as Matt and you and I and many, many other people have pointed out, unless you call out the orange cancer metastasizing inside the Republican Party that continues to dominate every aspect of it, unless you break him, you cannot hope to win against him. He will always outperform all these people on the debate stage. He will always outperform them in being egregious and cruel and terrible and transgressive. And so when you've got a guy like Ron DeSantis who does not have a personality, look, if Android Americans were a demo, I'm sure he'd do much better, but they are not. He has got a sense right now of, he was the golden child of the establishment. The National Review guys loved him. The money in Wall Street loved him. All the establishment donors loved him. But he can't campaign. He's a terrible candidate. Trump is going to eat them all alive on that stage, and none of them will be able to swing at him and connect because they will always pull back at the end. Maybe Chris Christie and Asa, who have no path to victory in this Republican Party, will hit him. But frankly, they're not going to be on the debate stage for long. These guys are going to be polling 1-2%. They're not going to make the cut. Ron DeSantis is a coward. He will not attack Trump directly, does not have the skill to do it. Nikki and Tim Scott, they have their fans, but they're not there to run for president. They're running for VP, both of them. So this is, it's 16 all over again. We're caught in a time loop.
Yeah, it is one heck of a time loop, Representative, because that first Republican debate is set for August 23rd. And Donald.
I mean, what Rick said was 100% on point. What he said was 100% on point. I mean, yeah, there's really nothing to argue. And again, like I said, Donald Trump would absolutely shine in terms of who he's going against if he does the debates. But outside of that, other than that, he really doesn't need to show up. So
Donald Trump has basically said, I'm not going to be there. There's no need for me to go. And so do you think that then becomes the venue where these candidates are finally going to ramp up their attacks because he's not there? Okay.
Yeah.
And it, does it really matter if Trump's not there to defend himself?
Yeah, no, I don't think so at all. I mean, the problem that the Republican Party and all these presidential candidates have is that they are scared of the MAGA base. Let's go back just for 1 second to what happened on January 6th, and that was instigated by Donald Trump's rhetoric that the election had been stolen by the big lie. That continues to be the Republican Party's most extreme base that is propping up Donald Trump. So for Donald Trump, he doesn't really need to do much. His brand is solid within the Republican Party, within the Republican base. He doesn't need to do any debates. And then
look at him leaning forward.
These candidates cannot attack him because then they will lose a huge portion if anything were to happen to Donald Trump. But let's remember, we still have 6 months before that primary in Iowa, and so much can happen between now and then. Donald Trump is facing multiple indictments, and I think that that's what they're counting on, including Ron DeSantis. They're waiting to see if it gets so complicated for Donald Trump that they start gaining ground. Now, Rick Wilson knows, I doubt Ron DeSantis is going to go anywhere. He continues. He's a failure. He continues to go down in the polls. So maybe Chris Christie will start gaining some ground because he's been the only one to attack Donald Trump directly. We shall see.
So, yeah, I don't know, Rick. I'm hesitate to go here, but I'm going to go there. You have referred to DeSantis as having a bit of a problem.
Exactly, Dark Dragon. Strong means stand with a gangster lean to the front.
As we watch his campaign sputter this past week, and having to fire staffers, etc. You called it electile dysfunction. So my question to you is, what particular political Viagra would you recommend for the candidate who seemingly is already losing staff 2 months after his announcement?
Well, the problem with the campaign right now is the campaign itself is burning $1.2 million a week. The super PAC is supposedly burning $2 million a week. They've way overstaffed. They've way overhired. And the problem is the person we needed to hire for Ron DeSantis was a speech and debate coach. They needed to hire someone who could teach him human emotions. They needed someone to help him deal with his shortness with people and the snippiness with people. Look, it's not an uncommon thing for people to say the wrong DeSantis is running. Casey has charisma, but she's the one who is having to swing the axe in the campaign now because they have figured out that you cannot sell bad dog food with good advertising. Dogs don't watch the advertising, but they taste the dog food. This is not a guy whose dog food tastes good to voters. And as you saw him a year ago, he was at 30%.
Electile. That is funny.
In our polling, and now he's at about 14% in our polling. And so this is a guy who's on a quick slide down. You and I have all seen presidential campaigns that were the hot thing, from Scott Walker to Bobby Jindal to Tim Pawlenty to Jeb Bush. And those things collapsed because they didn't have a certain amount of skill and talent as campaigners. Can DeSantis turn it around? Look.
Rick Wilson is being brutally honest about all of this. Like, everything he's saying is like to the cut truth, like the gut of it, which you got to appreciate, at least in this segment.
Donald Trump is eaten by a shark, struck by lightning, or somehow put in jail. Who knows? But right now, the other candidates have seen a big move available to them. That's why you have Glenn Youngkin looking at this race now. Greg Abbott, I'm told, is taking another look at this race. None of these people are, Kemp in Georgia, none of these people are intimidated now by Ron DeSantis. They are not worried about him any longer. They look at him now as someone who, while he had the establishment love and the money side for a while, that's going away. He's in trouble.
Rick, I want to pull the lens out in the last moments we have, because both of you and Deb.
All right, so that's pretty much to the point. I mean, that's what's up. But yes,